den. It's great to see all of you here, and it's a real pleasure for me to be here today. And for those of you here who are the members of the Macedonian diaspora, which I assume is most of you, welcome back to the land of your roots, to your beautiful country of Macedonia. I was thinking the other day, I'm always looking at the map of Macedonia in my office when I'm working on various things, and there are so many beautiful places in this country, many of which, not most of which, I've been to. I have a long list of other places that I would like to visit, but I was just looking the other day, and from places like Golem Korab, which I was happy to be able to climb last year, the highest peak in Macedonia, to Mount Pelister, which I almost got to the top of last week, but had to turn around because it got dark. From Ohrid to Kumanovo, from beautiful Lake Prespa, Lake Doiron, and Mavrovo to Berovo. This is really a beautiful country, and there's so many wonderful places to see, and so many wonderful people. And I'm sure many of you are back here all the time, and so you have had this experience before, but I'm sure you're already excited and energized by being back here again and having the opportunity to see friends and family and to see many of the beautiful places, not to mention the great food. If those of you who are from outside of Macedonia, you'll probably have to go back and start a new diet routine or workout routine to recover from your time here in Macedonia. But anyway, thank you very much for inviting me here to be here at this 4th annual UMD Global Conference. It's a pleasure, as I said, to be here. I'm going to thank especially Meto Koloski, your president, for having me here. It's the first time I've spoken to a large group of you, and I'm looking forward to that. I hope that you will have a lot of opportunities today and the rest of this week, as I mentioned some of you already, to share some of the ideas that you have about how you and other people can work together to, as I've said before, to help this country reach what I think is our shared goal, so it can be a more prosperous, more secure, more developed country for the benefit of all of its citizens. And I think that the diaspora has a special role in that process, and I hope that you will take that seriously, as I've said to some of you already, and look for how you can participate in that process. Speaking about the bilateral relationship, which will be the theme of my remarks here in the next few minutes, I just want to start out by saying that the United States, I think, as I hope you know, has stood with Macedonia and its people, both here and abroad, for 22 years, and we plan to continue to do that. In nearly every aspect of our bilateral relationship, I think I can find, and I will cite a few examples of how we have worked together for the benefit of Macedonia and for the benefit of both countries, in fact. And I just want to run through some of the things that we have done so you'll get a better idea of how this relationship, I believe, has benefited to Macedonia and also the United States. Many of you know that we do a lot of work around the world, not just here, through our USAID agency, U.S. Agency for International Development. And through that agency and through other agencies, the United States has invested approximately $1 billion in Macedonia since its independence. That's a lot of American taxpayers' money. So you can see we are heavily invested, both monetarily and other ways, in the future and the success of Macedonia. We have worked to create jobs, to increase productivity, to modernize the military, to renovate schools and hospitals, prepare students for the workplace. We've done things like spending over $1 million to preserve numerous cultural heritage sites through our Ambassadors Fund for Cultural Preservation. We have brought over 500 Peace Corps volunteers to Macedonia to work in education and community development. We have about 85 here right now. We have helped train professionals in virtually every sector of the country, every sector of the economy and the political world here in Macedonia, bringing in experts in a variety of fields to share their experiences, which we hope will benefit Macedonia in the future. Over 1,000 Macedonian citizens have received grants from the U.S. government to participate in exchange programs in the U.S., like the Fulbright program and the International Visitors Leadership Program, for their academic and their professional development. And most recently, a brand new thing we've started is the Embassy's Youth Council, a group of Macedonians in their early 20s who advise us and talk to us about what the youth of Macedonia are interested in. And that's become one of the most successful, it was one of the first, but one of the most successful youth councils of all of our embassies around the world. We have numerous ideas coming out of that on youth employment, on civic engagement, and on education that we hope will be useful for young people here in Macedonia. And we've even sent them on an exchange visit to another one of our embassies so they can share their ideas with the youth of another country, in this case, Latvia. The United States also has worked very hard to help Macedonia develop an economy that is competitive, and capable of being a strong economic partner for us and for your neighbors and for the rest of Europe. For nearly 20 years, a variety of U.S. programs have offered assistance to Macedonia, primarily to improve its competitiveness in all sorts of fields. Of course, we've also worked in one of our areas which I think is key to the future of this country, promoting the rule of law, which is a necessary prerequisite for Euro-Atlantic integration, and that's one of our highest priorities right now at the embassy. With funding from the State Department, we have brought in expertise also from the U.S. Department of Justice, and we provided a multitude of programs to train law enforcement and judicial officials. And every one of our rule of law programs includes a very strong public outreach component so that we can promote to the general Macedonian public awareness of these issues so they know what we're working on and why we're working on it, so you can have a more knowledgeable public here in Macedonia. Because rule of law, we believe, is so vital to a thriving democracy, we have used programs far and wide to strengthen structures of accountability and particularly of transparency. We have a program here which has kind of a difficult name to pronounce, the International Criminal Investigative Training and Assistance Program. So we call it ICITAP. It's a lot easier to say. And everybody here, I think, knows about ICITAP. We've worked there to provide improvements in the areas of human resources and professional standards for the police forces here in Macedonia, resulting this year in the first merit-based hiring of law enforcement professionals in Macedonia. That same program also has enjoyed a history of excellent relations with the Ministry of Interior on a whole variety of levels over many years. And those contributions, we believe, are crucial to achieving some of the most important goals of the UMDGC here, which is to enhance law enforcement capabilities, to promote democratic institutions, to promote peace and security and respect for human rights, all of which are vital to a thriving democracy. We've also worked through the Department of Justice as another example of our work here in partnership with the Academy of Judges and Prosecutors, as well as OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, to provide basic and advanced training in the new Criminal Procedure Code, which is supposed to go into effect here in December, which will completely revamp the system of trials in criminal cases. We also have a very strong judge-to-judge partnership program under which an American judge is paired with 3 Macedonian judges over a period of a full year, where they can exchange their ideas, their views, their practices, their opinions on how the system works. And we believe that has helped to solidify Macedonia's progress in judicial reform and independence. And this fall, we're taking a group of Macedonian judges for several weeks to the U.S. To observe U.S. trial courts, including the chief judge of the Supreme Court here. And we're looking forward very much to that experience as well. Another important contributing factor, we believe, to rule of law is security. We have another program, the United States Export Control and Related Border Security Program. We call it EXPIS for short. It has worked steadily and I believe in excellent cooperation with Macedonia's Customs and Border Police, with the Radiation Security Directorate here, to focus on better detection of traces of weapons of mass destruction as they may cross the border. As we all know, that's a transnational crime issue, and it crosses all borders. We've been training the border police in how to detect those sorts of items. And to do this, we have trained Macedonian border police in targeting and in risk management, in smuggler interdiction, and also in interviewing techniques so they can determine who needs to be investigated further. We have donated numerous pieces of equipment so they can do their work better. We've donated night vision devices, GPS devices, long-range portable thermal imagers, lots of other technical equipment, radiation pagers, all of this worth almost $500,000 to help improve security at Macedonia's borders. Of course, I wouldn't want to and I couldn't speak about security without expressing my and my government's sincere gratitude for Macedonia's pledge and continued support in NATO-led initiatives, most importantly, the International Security Force Assistance Force in Afghanistan. The U.S. has an established history of providing intensive training and running vigorous exercises to strengthen the efficiency and the interoperability of Macedonian military units. We've been doing that for 2 decades now. And to this end, we have contributed over $100 million to the Army of the Republic of Macedonia's modernization efforts through foreign military financing, We've trained countless numbers of military personnel through our international military education program and through joint combat exchange programs. And these trained units, which we have helped to train, have been able to serve alongside our forces and other NATO forces in Afghanistan, and before that in Iraq. Over 2,500 Macedonian soldiers have already done this. Just Tuesday, in fact, I was down in Skopje, where I helped the Minister of Defense and the Chief of the General Staff welcome back the 14th contingent of Macedonian military personnel from Afghanistan, and the 15th contingent is already there serving in Kabul. So we've had a long history of positive relationships and cooperation. And I'm sure that Macedonia's demonstrated dedication to international peacekeeping will remain at the same levels as in the past. The government here already has pledged to remain with ISAF through 2014, and so we're very pleased with that. And Macedonia also has continued to demonstrate this commitment by training its forces and certifying its forces so that they can be interoperable with both NATO and EU forces. We also have a very strong state partnership program between the Macedonian military and the Vermont National Guard. It's one of the most successful state partnership programs we have. Macedonian military units have served embedded with Vermont National Guard units in Afghanistan in full combat operations for 6 months in 2010 and performed admirably and received numerous awards during that period. Obviously, it goes without saying, we've said it before, I'll say it again, the United States strongly supports and encourages Macedonia's continued engagement with NATO. There is no one in the world, except perhaps Macedonia, who wants Macedonia in the alliance more than the United States. And it will happen. Macedonia will join, and as far as I'm concerned, the sooner the better. So as the United States continues to build upon the bond that it shares with your home country, I encourage you also to continue to support this nation as well. As I said before, you, the Macedonian diaspora, I believe are vital to the further development of Macedonia and its interests. Macedonia has come a long way since its independence, but clearly challenges remain. And all the citizens of Macedonia want what we all want, and as I've said before, they want a stronger, a safer, and a more prosperous country in which to live and to raise their children. And you want the same thing wherever you're from. And so your involvement in helping them reach these goals, I think, can be very important. So therefore, I encourage you to stand firm in your commitment to and your investment in this country. I hope you will stand by the people of Macedonia because they share your goals and your dreams. So on behalf of the United States government, I would hope you would allow me to reiterate that we want nothing more than to see Macedonia, the land of your roots, succeed as a peaceful, a tolerant, a prosperous, and a secure, multicultural member of the Euro-Atlantic community. Challenges remain. It will take courage and leadership to confront and to solve and overcome these challenges and to grow in the process. But throughout that process, the United States will remain standing as a friend and a partner for Macedonia, supporting the people of Macedonia on their path ahead and applauding every success along the way. So again, thank you very much for being here and allowing me to speak to you, and I look forward to meeting with some of you more afterwards. Thank you very much.